Learn about the strides female entrepreneurs of color are making. Be inspired by their story and enlightened by their leadership, insight, and advice.
Welcome to She Leads Podcast, Leadership Empowerment for Women of Color. I'm your host, Nicole Walker, and this is Season 6, Episode 17, entitled Learn to Embody Her with Gabrielle Leonard. Go to NicoleWalker.net/blog to read Gabrielle's bio and learn more about her and her business.
All right. So, Gabrielle, welcome to She Leads Podcast, Leadership Empowerment for Women of Color. We appreciate you joining us today, and we're excited to learn about you and your journey.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate you for inviting me on. Super excited to be out here and a part of your community. So
You're welcome.
I'm excited.
Yes, good. All right, so let's get started by you telling us about your background and what you currently do professionally.
Okay, so I am a corporate income strategy coach. I help my clients to close high-end corporate contracts quickly and easily. I have been doing this for I've been coaching. I'm a business coach for about 5 years, a little bit over 5 years. What I'm doing now, I've been doing for the last 2 years or so. I've shifted, started with purpose coaching, then went to event marketing and event coaching, helping people to get sponsors with corporations, and then shifted into just helping you to get corporate contracts in general. But I love what I do. My clients are getting results. I share results all day, every day on my page. Like, that's what I live by. I always believe in sharing the results that you get in your business. And so I'm just happy and blessed that I get to work with my dream clients and my clients get results.
Okay, I love it. Yes, it's all about results, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right, so tell us how you ended up in your current profession.
So I actually used to be a manager in a cosmetic store, cosmetic and fragrance store. And one day, I'm a Christian, by the way. And so one day I had this moment where I was outside. I was frustrated with my job. It was paying me well. It was what I thought was my dream job. I had prayed for this job, right? Specifically this job. And I had gotten recruited out of my previous job as a marketing executive to this job. So I was like, yeah, this must be what God wants. And I remember being so frustrated. And I went outside and I was just talking to God, like, God, why would you put me in this job? Why would you do this to me? And God was like, this isn't what I called you to do. This is what you wanted to do. And so I let you do what you wanted to do. I'm never going to force you to do something that I want to do. And I was like, whoa, wait a second. What do you mean? Like, it hit me that, God is the kind of guy, he's not going to be forceful. He is going to, whatever you want, he's probably going to allow it to happen because we all have free will. And then I decided, like, God, well, what do you want? That's the first time I ever asked God, like, well, what do you want from my life? Right. And then God was like, I want you to quit your job. And I was like, first of all, this paycheck is real cute. I don't know what you're talking about. You know what? As a matter of fact, never mind. Forget to ask a question. Nah.
Yes.
Yeah. And so, I remember I was like, you know what? Fine, I'll quit, but I'll quit a little bit later on. You know what I mean? Because I have like this money coming in. I'm not ready. And so all hell broke loose at my job. Like I have an eye condition. It's called keratoconus, which is where I wear hard lenses. Like if I touch my eye, it's gonna sound like it's like glass almost. But this was hard, and so I had to go get checked up and get replacements for my lenses. And when I came back, like it was a mess. First of all, the workplace was toxic, right? And basically, I was just like, yeah, no, I can't be here anymore. So I quit. And now I'm in this place of, well, I quit my job with no backup plan. I wish I had just like planned this, but there is no backup plan. I just quit this job. I did have a bath and body company that was, I had like wholesale accounts doing on the side. I've always been a hustler, right? Like in terms of hustling, I've always been hustling. I had a business doing, bath bombs and all these different stuff, but I didn't know what I was going to do, like really with my life. And so I started to see and learn more about the coaching industry. And at the time, a big thing for me was purpose, figuring out what my purpose in life was. And I started, I figured out what it was, which is to help others figure out what their purpose was. And so I started there. And I also realized I used to have a salon. I used to sell bath bombs. I'm really good at monetizing
Mm-hmm.
my purpose and coming with some message. It's not just about making money, it's about the message. So I got into business coaching. And then from there, it kind of gradually just escalated to where I am right now, which is helping people to make money with corporate contracts. So it's essentially the same thing. I'm helping people to live in their purpose and get paid well to do it. And some people are just called to work, on the corporate level. So people are called to serve multi and billion-dollar companies and consult with them and be a support to them and get paid well to do it.
Okay, I love that. I love that. So you were talking to me, whether you know it or not, right? I'm still in corporate, and it's toxic, right? And it's like I feel like I'm being nudged to quit, but then I don't have a plan. So like, did you have a nest egg? Like, how did you kind of make it from quitting without a backup plan to being able to sustain yourself?
So I really didn't necessarily have a nest egg. I had a good savings because my job was paying me really well. So I had gotten recruited from another job to this job. So I was able to say what I wanted because they were like, we want you. So I was able to say, well, this is how much I want to make. Take it or leave it. And they were like, we'll pay you that. I was like, huh? So I had a really good income, right? And also was making money because I had about 9 wholesale accounts for my bath bomb and soap making business in various touristy shops. So I had money coming in. It wasn't a lot of money, but it was good enough.
Okay.
And I remember telling my husband, like, I'm like, give me a year. I'm going to replace my income. Spoiler alert, did not happen in a year, but we'll get there soon. But what I ended up doing was I hosted an event, which is why I got into event marketing coaching, because events really, if you are like, how am I going to make some money, do an event and have an event strategy. Like, I hosted an event and I was selling this course for $500 at a time. And it was all about turning your purpose into profit, pretty much.
Okay.
And so I hosted this event. We had about 30 people sign up. So the event itself, the first event was free. And it was called Your Kingdom Purpose. It was at my church. Your Kingdom Purpose, right? And then from that event, I upsold another masterclass. I think the class was like $75.
Okay.
I upsold a masterclass, which is now that you know what your purpose is. The class was called Master Your Purpose or Monetize Your Purpose or something like that. And that class sold out.
Okay.
And in that class, I sold my course on basically making money with your purpose. And so that's how I make like good money. Like, I got some money there. I got clients from that. I was able to sell things, sell my course, sell my services, and just like get opportunities on the radio and stuff like that because of that event. So I always tell people, if you're new and you want to get out there and get like really good clients quickly, because I used to be an event marketing coach, I can tell you this, events convert higher than any other online marketing does. So in-person events really convert high. So for example, if any online thing converts at about like 3 to 14%, events convert about 25%.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So if you want to get income coming in, do an event. I mean, if you can't do an event right now because of this whole thing, but when you do get a chance to have an event in person, it works because you're in person. They get to see you. They have to ask you questions and it feels more personal. Just convert better that way. So I was able to take that money and build on itself. And that's how I kind of had like a really fast backup plan.
Nice.
Yeah.
I like that. And I love events and event planning. I've been doing it for family for years, but haven't transitioned into business yet. So that's inspiring. Thank you.
Yeah, it works. It works really, really well.
Okay. So tell us what you wanted to be when you grew up.
When I was younger, I wanted to be 2 things, a veterinarian or a doctor, like a surgeon, like a brain surgeon.
Oh, wow.
I've always had this weird affinity for animals. As a matter of fact, I have a lot of animals. I'm a cat lady. I have 6 cats. Yeah, don't judge me. And I have 2 dogs.
And 2 dogs?
I love animals. Like, I love animals. I've always had an affinity for animals. Like, I will be on the street and random animals will just come to me. It's weird. My mom was like, since you were a kid, all kinds of random strays will just be attached to you. I don't understand. She was like, you got to be a veterinarian because this is crazy. And also a healer because, my mom would always say, you just put hands on people and they'll feel better. Like, so, when you grow up in the Christian household, you'll get it, right? But so I wanted to be a doctor when I was younger. And so I ended up dropping out of high school
Oh, wow.
in my senior year of high school. And I know I'm a little bit fast forwarding here, but all that changed when I dropped out of school. But that was my dream. I was on track too. I was an honors student. I was in honor society. I was vice president of the student council at one point. I was in private tennis lessons. I was so on track to being what I wanted to be. Yeah, I think I said JROTC too. JROTC. All of these things. Choir club, volleyball team, basketball team. I was that academic kid.
Wow.
So you could imagine how shocked everyone was when I ended up dropping out of high school in my senior year.
Okay. All right. Thanks for all of that. So, yes, you definitely have me intrigued. So, give us more about your upbringing and what led to, this great setup to an adversity.
Yeah, so I grew up in a very Christian household. My mom is a Christian, so I was one of those kids who went to church every day of the week. You know
Oh,
those kids that they're in church Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Monday prayer meeting, women's ministry, Wednesday Bible study, youth, choir. I was in a dance group at church, the stepping group at church. Saturday you have praise and worship rehearsal. I was in church every day of the week, so I grew up very much like that. My mom divorced my father when I was younger, like around 7 or 9. I don't remember exactly when, so I haven't seen him in person since then. And then she, remarried to my then stepfather. And so when that happened, like all hell broke loose in my life. Essentially,
mm,
he didn't like us at all. He didn't accept us as his kids or his stepkids. As a
mm.
matter of fact, let's say his name is Mr. Walker. I had to call him Mr. Walker. I could not call him dad or stepdad or anything like that,
Oh,
right?
wow.
So you imagine what kind of household that was. Now, before that, my mom was very warm to us. Like she was a single mother who just took pride in her children and taking care of her kids, and so we were very close. We would have like dates and stuff like that together, me and my other brother. And that was a lifestyle. And then when she got married, like all that kind of really stopped. And
Mm,
so it became her trying to make him feel better. And he was really toxic.
mm,
He was, not really a good father model at all in the house. He clearly didn't like us. My mother had a child with him. So my other brother, it was like very obvious that we weren't liked, right? Just an example, like my mom, he would give my mom like $100 to feed us the whole entire household. And so like that's a month, by the way. And so
Oh, wow.
yeah, like so that would be like the kind of like household we lived in. He kind of expected a slave from my mom, essentially like a maid. And so there was pressure there. I didn't like him, he didn't like me, he knew I didn't like him, and there was like a lot of tension in the household. And so one day I was a senior in high school. I'll never forget. I was on the phone with my friend. It was her birthday. He didn't want me to use the house phone. I couldn't use the house phone at all. I was like
Mm,
18 years old. Could not use the house phone. Could not use the phone. Could not go out. Could not go to parties. Couldn't do anything. I couldn't go to the movies. Nothing. Right. And so I started doing hair on the side in school. So everyone knew me in school as the girl who would braid hair during the lunch breaks. Right. Told you I was hustling. Right. So I would braid hair during the lunch break, and I was collecting some good money doing that, right? Eventually created a natural hair salon later on. I was braiding hair and I had like a little money saved up, so I bought myself like a little phone, cell phone, so I could be on track with my team for volleyball practice, so I could, be on the phone for study, conversations, so I could just talk to my friends. And he saw that as a sign of me being disrespectful. And I was just
mm,
like, I need a phone. You don't want me to use a house phone, right? So I need a phone because I'm literally a senior in high school. Like I need to like have communication with people. I couldn't go out anywhere, so how am I gonna have that? And so it
mm.
was a point of contention. And eventually, he told my mom like, I don't want to have a phone or whatever. And so my mom was like, just don't use a phone whenever he's around. She didn't have a problem with it because she got it. But that day, I don't know what was going on with my mom, but my mom was in a bad mood. I think they had an argument. I don't know what was going on, but that phone became a target and we got into a fight and I got kicked out of the house because I
Oh,
didn't
wow.
respond well. I was angry. I already felt like I was abandoned by her. I already felt angry because he was always lying on me and just creating trouble, like simple things. Like I would clean the house, he would mess it up before my mom got. I'll go in my room, read my book because I was a nerd. I'm still a nerd. I like to read. I go in my room to read a book. When I go outside, my mom gets home. It's like I'm getting cursed out because like why is the house messy, right? That's stuff like that he would do, go out of his way to do, right? So at this point, I was just like tired and I didn't respond to my mom well, and we fought. and I got kicked out of the house. And so that's kind of like how I ended up on the streets for a year. I ended up going to stay at a friend's house, did not work out well. And so I ended up on the streets, like in and out of like random friend's house or on the bus stop or in a car sleeping or in abandoned house in the project squatting with other people who were homeless. Like it was crazy. And so I will never forget that moment of my life, but that I will never give it up because that's what made me who I am. I had to get scrappy. I had to survive. I had to make decisions to survive. And where I am today began with a decision one day. Like I literally said to myself, this is not my life. This is not the life that I want. This is not a life I'm creating for myself. It changes today. That moment on the street, on the bus stop, I will never forget. I was literally crying. I was like, what's this is, I wasn't raised, like I was raised very sheltered. I told you I had private tennis lessons, right? Which ironically, my stepfather paid for because he wanted me to get into college. He's like, I'm not paying for your college, so you because you're tall, you're gonna be a star, something like that, right? And so I was in private tennis lessons and all these different things. Well, private tennis lessons from him, but everything else was on my own, right? And I'm like, this is such a long way from that. This is a long way from that, right? And I was like, no, it started with a decision to have the life that I want. I was standing somewhere and I was crying and I said, it stops today. And so I made decisions. Not all of them were great decisions, or not all the decisions I made were decisions that other people would probably make. But I was in survival mode and I did what I had to do to get to where I am today.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for just sharing all of that with us and being really transparent. I mean, I heard so much, but just like kudos to you just for your strength. Like through that whole story, I heard strength. Like even through adversity and being an entrepreneur, even in high school, which doesn't surprise me as to where you are now, right? And then you even being homeless, that made me think of like Steve Harvey and Tyler Perry, you know? So who knows where we'll see you in the future, right? Because a lot of the greats, that's their story.
Yeah.
So that's amazing. And I can relate to you in reference to being in a place where you had to say, this isn't my life, right? Because I've been there. And like going from graduating 8 in the class to having a daughter at 17 to just a lot of bad decisions where it's like, it just didn't make sense. Like, how did this person that should have been here ended up here?
Yeah.
But I like that life can be changed if we decide to make the decision to do so, right? So it doesn't matter what we go through, where we end up at a moment, it can always get better if we want it. So
absolutely.
Thanks for that.
Thank you.
All right. So can you tell us about a pivotal point in your life and how it shaped who you are today?
I think that moment when I decided that I wasn't going to be this person, that was one of the pivotal moments, and also the moment when I quit my job. So in that moment when I decided I'm not going to do this anymore, I ended up moving in with a guy. He was 10 years older than me, right? But decision that probably everyone wouldn't like. But I was like, in order for me to go back to school, because I don't want a GED, I want my high school diploma. So in order for me to go back to school, I need to be in a place where I can get to school, get a job. And he was okay with that. And so, yeah, I sure did get in a relationship with a guy and leverage that to get to where I wanted to be. And, you know, sometimes I'm ashamed to admit that. I'm writing a book and I put it in the book the other day and I'm like, you know, this experience is so cringy to some people I know, but this is reality. I was on the streets, right? And if you ever get a chance to read my book, you'll see another story that I saw him the other day, and I put that story in the book. Like I haven't seen him since that time.
Wow.
But yeah, like that moment, and I made decisions. I started with a series of decisions. Like I'm deciding I don't want this. I'm deciding I'm gonna go with this guy and go live here so he can take me to school, so I can get a job and I can be comfortable. I'm deciding to get a job at the Ritz-Carlton, and so I push and push and push, and I got a job at the Ritz-Carlton, right? Getting $15 an hour, or working at Pizza Hut where I was cleaning tables and washing dishes. I decided to push and change how I dress and how I spoke and all the things I was doing before. I made decisions every step of the way up until I got the job as a marketing executive at the Marriott, right? And then got recruited. I was trying to sell her timeshare, and I got recruited from the general manager of the beauty store to work there, getting the salary that I wanted, right? All of that started with a series of decisions from that moment where I said, this is not my life, right? Even down to when I asked God, like, well, what do you want? Making the decision to be obedient to what God wanted for my life, even though at one point in my life, I resented God so much. Like, I was like, no, God, like, I grew up going to church every day of the week. And look, here I am on the streets. No, no, right? I was definitely in rebellion. I was definitely like hurt and felt abandoned by God. But I realized that a lot of things that happen to us number one, it happens for a reason, because again, if I didn't go through that, I would not be here right now.
Yep.
And a lot of times too, what we go through also is a result of our decisions. And we like to blame God for it, but a lot of times it's because of what we do, our decisions, right? But those moments, that moment on the street and that moment when I decided to say yes to what God wanted for my life, those two moments were pivotal moments in my life.
Okay, thanks for that. And I like your honesty as far as like you had to make decisions that maybe you're not so proud of, but had you not made that decision, where would you be? Right.
Right.
So it's all building blocks, right? So
Yeah.
thanks for that. All right. So tell us what you would consider to be one strength and one weakness, and also what you do to get around that weakness.
So I'll start with the weakness first. I am not naturally optimistic. I
Okay.
am very pessimistic,
Okay.
naturally. So naturally, my instincts goes to the negative. Like, oh God, that's why it happened, because this. Like, naturally, it's like, I don't think, well, you know what? I don't see the world glass half full. I see it glass half empty. And it's a natural thing for me. And so for me, how I get around that is I have to tell myself to think differently. And so for me, mindset work is a daily thing that I have to work on every single day. Every single day I have to work on it, because positivity doesn't come natural for me. And everyone makes it seem as if positivity comes natural for them, but it sure don't come natural to me. And that's just the truth. And it's a weakness of mine. I feel like it's a weakness because I look at everyone and it's like, oh my God, everyone is so positive and everyone is so like, yay. But for me, I have to work so hard at being positive, especially in the moments when I don't feel like being positive, especially in the moments when maybe tears are coming down my eyes, right? That takes a lot of work, and it can feel like a lot. But how I get through that is through my routines that I've set up in my life to help me. I have so many different routines, but I've set those routines up in my life because I know what my weaknesses are, and it helps me to overcome that.
Okay.
A strength, what I would say is I can see opportunity in everything. So one of the things that my clients know about me is that I'm an idea bank. So my clients will come to me like, I don't know what I'm going to do. And I'll quickly, well, here's what we're going to do with this. Right. And it's like, not only is an idea, it's a profitable idea, because once they put it into place, they make money.
Okay.
And so that's a strength of mine, my ability to see opportunity in everything, and my ability to create profitable ideas. And so for a long time, I thought that was for me. I was the kind of person, as you probably can tell, that had all these different ideas and businesses that you would start. Hair salon, bath and body company, all these different things that I was doing, right? And so I always thought it was for me. And one day God was like, yeah, those ideas are not for you. Those are for your clients.
Okay.
I'm giving you these ideas to impart to your clients. So when my clients come to me, they don't come to me just with my strength. They come to me with the gifting that I got from God to give to them. Those ideas that are profitable, those $1 million ideas, those 6-figure ideas that my clients are now using in their business, those come from God straight to my head. And I thought it was for me, but it's not. It's for my clients. If you are listening to this podcast and you're the kind of person that has a lot of ideas all the time, and you're like writing them down, like, and you're overwhelmed with all the ideas, consider that maybe they're not for you.
Okay.
Consider that maybe they're for your clients, right? And for you to impart on the people who are surrounded around you. Okay. So yeah, those are my strengths and my weaknesses.
All right. Thanks for that. You're not alone as far as mindset, right? That is been one of my struggles. And now I am a naturally happy person, but I agree with you. Like it takes practice, and it I want to say that I recently came across some information that said that our mind automatically goes to the negative. Like that's
Mm,
more natural, the negative
mm,
than the positive. So those people that
yeah.
are just all the way positive, they're the anomaly. Like we're regular.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't know how y'all do that, but that's not me.
Exactly, right? So, but I love the tip, right? That it's okay if that's the situation, but you don't have to stay there, right? It's
Right.
always a way out and a way around if we seek that. So
Yeah.
thanks for that. All right. So you talked about having many routines. Can you
Yeah.
share about your morning routine or any other routine that you want to
Sure.
let us know more about?
Sure. So let's see if I can remember everything, but I have a morning routine. So I don't always follow it, but this, for the most part, when I do, it helps so much. So in the morning, I get up, I pray. So I can just stay in bed and just close my eyes really quick and just kind of pray, like, thank you, Lord, for the day. Thank you, Lord, for what's about to happen, all the amazing things you're about to do in my life today, whatever, right? Once I get up and pray, usually my kids are ready, my husband is an early riser. So he's up with the kids in the morning. We have our household is a little bit different than most people. So my husband is a morning person. I'm not. So he gets up and he goes to work early in the morning. So he gets the kids ready up for school and stuff like that. I'm the night person. I'm the homework person. I'm the cook dinner person. I'm the everything nighttime person. Let's hang out tonight. That's me. And a lot of people right now, you're probably judging. I know that because it's not normal in households. The mom is the one who's up early making the breakfast, and in the Caribbean household, it's the cream of wheat and bush tea, right? So that's not normal exactly, but this is what's normal in our household, right? And so I get up and I'm praying, and then I usually would journal and meditate. So I use an app called Headspace to do my meditation. It's a guided meditation, and I like it because I'm very careful about how I meditate and what I listen to when I meditate, because when you're meditating, you're opening up yourself,
Okay.
right? And so you're opening up your subconscious. And so I want to be careful about what I use as guided meditation. So I use Headspace because it's very neutral, very to the point, nothing extra that they're putting in there and slipping in there, right? And so I use Headspace because of that. And so I meditate for about 10 minutes in the morning. And so after I meditate, I journal and I do future pacing. So what future pacing is I would journal my day as if it already happened.
Oh,
So I'll say, wow, today was so awesome. Like I was able to do this today. I was able to do this today. I made this much money today. And I felt so amazing. I'm super excited. Like I speak as if the day has already happened, because that's a form of manifesting, right? You speak as if, you act as if. And so that's called future pacing. I like to journal like that, or I like to ask myself questions that allow me to get into the space that I need to be. Because I always tell my clients, step into her. Who is the most powerful version of you, the person that you see in your 10-year goal? We start to operate like her right now in my Embrace, Embody, Empower method, right? And
mm,
so what would she do today? How would she feel? How would she respond to this situation? What could potentially hold her back from showing up as powerfully as she can? I ask, myself those questions, and I identify it. For example, that question about what would possibly hold her back. Maybe she's on her period and she's in a bad mood. So, if I'm writing that down, well, what can you do to step into her while you're on your period? I know I got real deep, y'all,
mm.
but it's real. This is real life. I'm like, raw. I hope that's okay.
No, and look, and that life is raw, so I appreciate it.
So I talk about that because we like to use that as an excuse, like, oh, because I'm on my cycle, I'm going to be in a bad mood. I'm going to be all mean to people. No, you can choose how you want to decide and interface with the world, no matter what you're going through in your life, right? And so what can she do to show up as powerfully as she can, even though she's on her cycle?
Mm,
Well, she can be slow to speak and quick to listen, right?
mm,
So I journal as if, and I ask myself those questions. And so when I get into, what I need to do for the day, I'm ready. So once I'm done with my prayer, meditation, and journaling, I read a scripture sometimes and focus on that in my meditation. Then I do my skincare routine and my beauty routine. So every morning I do my skincare routine and I do my makeup every single day. And the reason for that is, one, I work from home, and when I wasn't doing my makeup and getting dressed, I was not productive
mm.
because I was in home mode. I want to be in pajamas watching Netflix while I'm on my laptop mode. And I need to step into her, right? When I teach my clients the most powerful version of you. And what does she look like? Her face is beat. That's what she looks like. How
Yes.
does she dress? She dressed this way. That's what she does. And so for me, if I'm going to get the clients that I want, and I do, like I make 40K plus per month in my business consistently, right? My programs are $10,000, $24,000. My course is 2,000 and change, right? I'm selling these things like clockwork because I'm always stepping into the most powerful version of me, which for me, we call it, my clients and I, they lovingly call it anchors. We find our anchors. For me, my anchor is my makeup. This connects me to the most powerful version of myself. When I do my makeup and I get dressed, I feel like her and I step into her so I can charge like her in my mind. A lot of people are not able to do that because they're not stepping into the most powerful version of themselves. And so for you, it may not be doing your makeup. It may not be doing your skincare routine. For you, it might be it might be having a Louis Vuitton bag hanging up behind you. I don't know. Whatever your anchor is, whatever your thing is that you use to ground you back into the place of, I'm the most powerful version of myself right now. Do that. For me, it's my meditation, my journaling, my reading my Bible and my prayer, and then skincare. So skincare is like 5 to 10 minutes of time for myself. Me time. And so I'm, doing my skincare and I'm like focusing on me, and I take my time with my skincare. I do my face wash, and I do my toner. Then I do my serums. I use like about 2 to 4 serums sometimes, depending on what's going on. Then I do my moisturizer, and I roll my jade roller, and I do this so intentionally. I'm like loving on myself in that moment. As women, especially as mothers and wives, we don't stop to take care of ourselves. And so for me, that's an intentional moment to just focus on me only. And so after I do my skincare routine and after I do my face, then I do my makeup, and I do my makeup as if I'm her. That's my morning routine.
I
It
love
takes
that.
at least an hour, sometimes longer, but it's my morning routine, and it works because it allows me to show up as powerfully as I do every single day. I have other routines as well. I have my mental health routine. I do struggle with depression and anxiety and insomnia and all these different things. And so whenever I'm going through a tough time, I do my mental health routine, which is my nighttime routine. I make myself a tea, my tension tamer tea by Celestial Seasonings. Get into it, honey. It's a really good tea. If you have tension and stress, it calms you all the way down. It's really good. I boil my tea. I do a bath where I either do a bath or I do a shower where I use like aromatherapy. I light my candle. I dim the lights, take the lights on. It's just a candlelit shower or a bath. I put on my music and I just take my shower and I wash all that stuff away, right? For some reason, when you have a candlelit shower or a bath, like all the lights are off, it's not bright lights, you're able to just think, right? And you're able to just process whatever is going on. And then I have affirmations. Like, for example, one of my affirmations that I use it says, it's always working. It is always working. The work that you put in yesterday, it's always working. The work that you put in today, that maybe you made a post that no one liked, it's always working. I've had people who reach out to me from a live video that I did that had like one person on it and became a client from a video that had one like.
Wow.
It's always working, right? So when things feel like it's too much, I'm like, it's always working. When it doesn't feel like it's working, it's always working. So I focus on that. Then once I'm done with the shower, I journal and I get everything off my chest out. Why am I feeling the way I feel? What triggered this? So I'm aware, because we go through life on autopilot. We are never aware of what's triggering certain things. Sometimes you might be like, why am I sad today? And you probably are sad because you watched something on TV that triggered a traumatic experience that you experienced years ago. And so now you're going through the day all depressed and not knowing why. I like to know why whatever is happening in my life is happening.
Okay.
And so I'm like, what did I watch today? Who did I speak to today? And then I'm able to pinpoint what triggered it, so that moving forward, when I can identify when something's about to trigger me, I can say, hey, I know you're about to talk about this thing, but I'm triggered by this. So, or whatever. So it may not be someone, it might be a TV show. I might say, okay, nope, not watching that. Give you an example. This is very simple and very silly, but Handmaid's Tale. For a long time, I refused to watch season 2 of Handmaid's Tale because season 1 triggered me. I've experienced some sexual trauma in my life, and season 1 triggered me. And so I knew I was in the middle of launches, and I was in the middle of getting clients and all these different things. I was in the middle of a level up, and I did not want to be triggered. And so I waited until after I got those clients, after I did all this stuff, to go binge watch season 2. And sure enough, I sure was triggered for about 2 days.
Wow. I love
Right?
it.
But
Yeah.
I knew that based on my journaling, I knew that the last time I watched that an episode, I was triggered for like 3 days. I didn't know what was going on. But I watched Handmaid's Tale, right? So it's a good show, y'all. Not bashing the show. I'm just saying, know what your triggers are. Okay? And so once I do that journaling and I pray and I let it all go, sometimes I would write on a paper or whatever is bothering me or whatever is going on, I throw it away. That act of throwing it away is like very, you know, it's symbolic, and it locks into your mind. Then I pray and I let it go and I go to sleep. I have these things in place because I know myself, and it's taken me a long time to be very self-aware. And the more self-aware you become, the more you're able to pinpoint and troubleshoot issues in your life quicker.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
You touched on so many gems, right? Because I definitely agree, self-awareness. And like you said, people don't take time. Like some people die without knowing themselves, right?
Yeah.
And as I was listening to you, it sounded like to me like instead of living in a reactive state, you're living in a proactive state, right?
Yeah.
Which is excellent. Like whoever is the judge, shame on them, right? Because life is what life is, and we all have to figure out what works for us and what doesn't, right?
Yeah.
And I love how you said like your husband does the stuff in the morning, you do the stuff at night, right?
It's a partnership, and we're doing it equal 50-50. Yeah.
Exactly. And what works for you and what works for you may not work for the next person or the next person, but that doesn't matter. Like we need to stop looking into other people's windows and thinking that they need to do things the way we do them, and vice versa, because it's all about what works for us.
Exactly. My husband is the one who actually suggested that. For a long time, I was struggling because I'm not a morning person. And if you ever do a sleep test, I recommend that you do one. It lets you know like when your natural sleep cycle is, and when's the best time to work and all that stuff based on your sleep cycle and when you're the most productive. And I remember I would miss appointments in the morning with like sales calls or discovery calls. Like would be like it was a mess. And one time my husband was like, "Why don't you just sleep in and just let me handle stuff in the morning?" Because I would be miserable. I'll be like so fussy, miserable in the morning, just like it was a mess. And he was like, "Let me just do this in the morning, okay? Let's try it and see what happens." And let me tell you, it was so smooth.
Nice.
It was like, this is exactly what we needed to do. And he was like, "Yeah, we're doing this. Nope, I'm doing the morning stuff." And it's like, not that I wasn't efficient. I just was grumpy, and I'm not a grumpy person. I'm naturally like, I crack jokes. I'm silly. I'm quirky. I'm weird, right? Like my family, we're always on jokes time, always, right? And so in the mornings, I was just like grouchy, just like short with everyone and getting stuff done. Like, okay, let's, like I was just not, and I was groggy and slow. Like it was bad. And so when he suggested that, I was like, you know what? I can't do this because my mom is going to judge me. My mom's going to be like, "You're not a good mom and a good wife. A good wife is supposed to be doing this." And so my husband was like, "I'm releasing you from that because we are married, not you and your mom."
Yes.
And so since then, it's been this way, and it works for our household. Like we are a well-oiled machine here, So
I love it.
It's
Love it.
awesome.
Yes. Figure out what works for you, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so tell us about the last book that you read or listened to. I know you said you like to read a lot.
So you said the last book, not the last business book. So I'm gonna be honest, because I know as a business coach and as we all like to talk about business books, but I'm a fantasy novel nerd. Okay, I read fantasy novels, and actually the book I'm reading right now. What is the book? I listen to audiobooks, by the way. That's how I'm able to read like a book a day.
Oh wow, nice.
I read a lot of books in the fantasy world. I have a lot of fantasy novel author friends, and they're like, "How do you read so many books?" Audiobooks, audible.com. So this is the last book I read. It's called I'm reading it right now. It's called Crescent City by Sarah J. Maas, House of Earth and Blood. That's literally what I'm reading right now. I read it already, and I'm rereading it again because it was so good. Book one in a 3-book series. And I like to read fantasy novels because the way that my mind works is my mind is always on work, all day, every day. So even though I work from 1 to 5 every day now, my brain never stops working. And so for me, listening to a novel takes my mind off of work and puts it into something fun. So when I'm washing dishes or cooking dinner for the kids or cleaning the house or whatever I'm doing, I'm listening to a fantasy novel, and it's just like fun, something that's not work. And let me tell you, a lot of you guys who are like all wrapped up in work, you get some of the most creative ideas, some of the most original ideas where you're not having to copy other people when you listen to things or do things outside of work. Right? So yes, I like, business books, and I read business books, and I'm launching a business book. I believe in that, and I do read those. But I also believe in doing things outside of work. Whatever that thing is for you. For me, it's books, because I love books. Whatever that thing is, so that you can get creative ideas and be refreshed when you come back to your business.
Okay, thanks for that. Yes, and I appreciate your spin, or just what you do, right? Because although this podcast, entrepreneurship, leadership, it's about how you live your life. And that's a great tip, is that, a life can't always be all work and no play.
Yeah.
And I like the fact that you even noted that you can get some of the best ideas or inspiration for work from play. So
Yeah.
to me, even though it wasn't business related, it still ties in.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks for that. All right, so tell us about an aha moment that you had lately and how you've changed as a result.
An aha moment is that, so it's interesting. I remember struggling to sell my programs at $500. I remember when I had my offer at $500 or even $1,500, it was like pulling teeth to get people to say yes to my programs. Now that my programs are $10,000, $24,000, I mean, like I have clients coming in like crazy.
Wow.
That was an aha moment that I had. Number one, my positioning. When you come from a place of stepping into the most power, and it's not even about your price, because I have raised my price one time and I wasn't getting clients. It's about your positioning. It's about your power. And that's why the triple E, embrace, embody, empower, is that aha moment for me. That's the thing I was living by, even when I was on the streets, all the way to now, to get me to where I am today. So I'm going to break down what that is right now really quickly for you guys. It's embrace, which is embracing the most powerful version of you. So what do I mean by that? When you think about your 10-year goal, I want you to place yourself in that 10-year goal. So let's say your 10-year goal is that in 10 years, I'm going to be making $1 billion, whatever it is. Now put yourself in that position. Like, okay, you're making $1 million, right? Okay, great. What are you wearing? How are you speaking? Who are your friends? Who are you in a relationship with? What car are you driving? All of that stuff. So you want to embrace it and admit, this is what I want. Let me tell you, it's easier said than done, because for a long time, I was a chick who loved to shop on the clearance rack, who loves Sally and Clarence, okay? I love me some Sally and some Clarence, all right? I was a sale and clearance rack girl, right? I was the girl who was like, I will never buy Louis Vuitton or Chanel. No, I don't want to do that, right? I was the person who was anti-labels because I didn't want to be bougie. I don't want people to feel like I was stuck up or whatever, right? And it took, the reason why I was so against it is because I really wanted it. I really and truly wanted it. But I was scared to admit it, because if I admitted it, then I would have to admit that I actually want this. And I'm not in a position to afford it right now. I didn't want to be depressed by that. And so instead of going through that, we just say, no, that's not what I want. People who do that are wrong. And we go through all that stuff, right? But when you admit to yourself what you really want, there's a freedom in that thing. There's a freedom and a liberation that comes from honestly admitting what you really want from life. You know what I really want? I want a man who's going to take care of me. I don't want to take, you know what I'm saying? Whatever, I'm not saying that's what you want. I'm just giving examples. Some women want that, but they want to act like, I want to be the breadwinner. I'm okay with being an independent woman. You're not. You want a man to take care of you. Just be honest and say that, right?
Okay.
But so that's an example of embracing it. Like, you know what? This is what I really want. I want to be making 6 figures a month. I want to be driving a Tesla. I want to be rocking locks, or I want to have like hair down my back. I want to have a housekeeper. This is what I want. Fine, I'm admitting it. This is what I want. You admit it. So this is always fun with my clients because when they get to admit what they want, they're always like shocked, like, wow, I really just admitted that. Yeah, you did. Now the work begins because now that you know what you want, now you can start embodying her, right? And so again, this is the aha moment. When you know what you want, you can embody her. If you don't know what you want, or if you're running from what you want, you can't embody that person. And people wait until they get in that 10-year goal to start living that life. No, you start living as if right now, right? Before I was able to afford my coach's program, I invested in her program because that's what she would do. That's what the girl in my 10-year goal, that's what she does. She invests in $10,000 programs just like that. And so if I'm living her, I started investing as her and making the money back, because when you start creating that space of trust, there's a law of attraction, right? It's an actual law of attraction. When you start creating the container of this is my real life, the universe and God and the universe, because God created the universe, let's not get it twisted, has no choice but to make it happen. Because you're already speaking it out there. You're already living as if. But if you don't know what you want, how can you embody it? So once we embrace it, then we embody it. We start living as if, we start dressing like her, speaking like her, acting like her, getting around people like she would, getting into relationships like she would, start carrying ourselves like she would, right? Because that's what we see. For me, for a long time, Olivia Pope was her for me.
Okay.
I love me some Olivia Pope, minus the Fitz stuff.
No judgment, right?
The Gerald Grant stuff, right? But like how she walked, how she dressed, how she spoke to her team, how her team responded to her, the fact that she had a team that was loyal to her, that was like her. Right? That was she. When I saw myself, it was like that. Having visual cues allows you to know how to kind of like live and embody that. So I started buying clothes like Olivia Pope. So like my closet for a long time was like all white, all blush pink, all nudes, right? The pumps. You know how Olivia Pope walks with her handbag in her hand, like, right? Right? So I would start doing that. And it seems like very silly at first. It's like, what am I doing? I feel like I'm imitating random people. You're not. Because when you get there, you're going to start acting like that. I see it all the time. I see friends, they're like acting normal with me. And then when they get in a certain place, they're like, yeah, all of a sudden. Why not be her all the time? Then that's fake. Right? So start being that person now. Then when you embrace and embody, now you can start empower others to saying yes to you. That's where the money comes in. You're not begging people for money. You don't come off as desperate. You come off as, I'm valuable. Here's what I do. You take it or leave it. Let me tell you, that's more powerful than trying to convince someone to buy your thing. Right? People are now empowered. Oh my God, how can I work with you? How can I sign up with you? How does this work? When you show up as her to invest in your program, to invite you to different places, to invite you to different things. I have a congressional award from a congresswoman. A congressional award. It's right up here. It's for our Sunday community service from a congresswoman, because I show up as her every single day. I've had lunch with the governor of the U.S. Virgin Islands, the former governor of the U.S. Virgin Islands. When you show up like that, you're invited to different tables. But if you're still operating this place of, I don't know if I'm worthy, am I good enough? Then people aren't empowered to say yes to you. Yes could be in the form of paying you, inviting you, being around you, whatever it is, relationships, whatever it is, those things are not going to be attracted and drawn to you unless you create the space for it, which happens when you start embodying that person that you want to be. That's my aha moment. I realized that. When I realized that, I created that method because that's what I was doing anyway. And my clients have been living by it. I've been living by it, and it works like crazy.
Yes, I love that. I love that. It's so funny you say that. I was on a art of negotiations class last night, right? And they talked about how the same situation looked at two different ways yielded two totally different results. whereby they told this guy, like, your product is subpar. The person is an excellent negotiator. They're going to only pay the bottom price, right? Then they told another person, your product is superior. You can negotiate way better than this person. And the person bought the product at the top price, right? So it's like you said, all about that mindset.
It's the same thing.
Yeah, I like that. I like that. Well, that is a great aha moment. Thanks for sharing it with us. And your program definitely sounds amazing. So,
Thank you.
for
It
those
is.
listening,
It's awesome. I'm so proud
yeah,
of it. And I love the fact that it gets like real results, and it gets results like really quickly. Love it.
good. Yes. All right. So, do you have any advice that you would like to give to an up and coming entrepreneur?
So when I first started out, I thought that I had to charge lower initially. A lot of you, if you're going into business, you already are good at what you do. You already have an expertise in something, and you've waited a long time to go ahead and launch that business.
Mm-hmm.
You probably have experience coming from the job, from the workplace, from the different jobs that you have, right? You have that experience on the back end, and you've been waiting for a long time and procrastinating on launching your business. So more than likely, if I'm speaking to you, you know what I'm talking about. You coming with that fire, you know what you're doing. And so a lot of times we want to charge lower because we feel like, let's get our foot in the door. No.
Mm-hmm.
Charge your result, what charge based on the transformation. Not based on how long you've been in business, based on the transformations you bring. Now, what I do recommend, if you don't have any kind of results, go get results before you start charging, though.
Okay.
Then you can go ahead and start charging based on the transformation. So if you work with someone or 2 people or 3 people before you launch your business and you help them get results in a short amount of time, you charge based on the results. And there's a formula to that of course I walk my clients through, but charge based on results. Don't just go, well, because I'm new, I'm going to charge $500 when your thing is worth $5,000.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Pricing lets people know how you feel or how confident you are in your ability to get results. Keep that in mind.
Okay. Great advice. All right. So, do you have a favorite quote? And if so, can you share it with us?
I think that was one of the affirmations I mentioned earlier, and my coach is who says it to us all the time, and it's that it's always working.
It's always working.
It's always working. When it doesn't feel like it's working, it's always working.
All right. One more question before we go into what I consider to be the fun part. Do you have a recommended resource that you'd like to tell the listeners about and go into a little bit about how you use it?
It's this book that I read when I was struggling with my mindset. I know a lot of people know about this book, but it's a good book if you are especially starting out, or if you are struggling with raising your prices, like you've been in business for a while and you're like, I want to raise my prices up, or I want to level up, I want to get corporate contracts, or whatever it is. And this book called You Are a Badass by Jen Sincero. It's one of the most popular business books out there, and it is for a reason. Is because she talks about mindset stuff. It's like basic mindset stuff, but that book, I remember reading that book, and the next day I raised my prices like to $1,500, right? It was like 500 and I went straight to 1,500 and they said yes. And so it's a really good book to read if you are struggling with mindset, if you are stuck in this cycle of I can't get out of this thing of what I should be doing in my business versus what I want to be doing in my business. I recommend reading that book from beginning to end, in a way that's intentional in terms of your business.
All right. So, can you tell us about your last vacation, your favorite vacation, and whenever we're able to travel again, what your next vacation will be?
The last vacation is so weird because I haven't had like a vacation in a long time.
Okay.
I had the last vacation I had. So I travel for work a lot. California, Miami, different places, Atlanta, like all of these different places for work, for different speaking engagements or whatever. And I kind of mix it as like the first part or whatever I'm doing is for business. And then I stay a couple of days for like my vacation.
That's only right.
Right? So that's like what I typically do. But I had a staycation recently right here on island. It was, in the middle of this whole pandemic thing, and I was in this at home and I was not feeling like high vibe. And I was like, this ain't it. I need a minute. So I got like a cute Airbnb. It was gorgeous, had like a jacuzzi. It was really nice. And I just stayed there and I just, in quiet, just focused on me, focused on my business as well, but just had some time to just recoup. Let me tell you the power of a staycation. You might not be able to afford going on a trip, a huge elaborate trip right now. Go get you a luxury place. You don't got to pay for the airfare. You don't got to pay for all the travel. Just go get you a luxury place, a luxury hotel, a luxury villa, mansion, whatever you want to do, and just stay there and be intentional about your time there. It works. And so that's what I would recommend for you guys if you guys are like, oh, I want to get in a place. But as I got in there, I Lysol it down. I sprayed my ozone in there, which is an air sanitizer. I wiped everything down with Clorox wipes, and then I just kind of just chilled, right? And I was also supposed to be going to Mexico before this whole ban on quarantine thing happened. I was supposed to be in Mexico at the beginning of April. And so I was sad and devastated by that for sure. It was supposed to be a celebration of experiencing a 100K quarter last quarter that just passed. I want to go there for sure. I've been wanting to go to Bora Bora. I want to go to Thailand for sure. Like, I really want to go there. It looks so pretty and gorgeous. And then also I want to visit my friend. She's in Tanzania. She lives in Tanzania, Africa. She's from there as well. And so it's gorgeous there. And I want to go visit her there as well. So I'm looking forward to all those different things with family or even by myself for some of them.
Nice, nice. And where is your favorite vacation that you've been to thus far?
Favorite vacation? I think my favorite one was in Miami.
Okay.
We stayed there, we hung out, we got a lot of rest. I went, you know what it was? It was the shopping. In the Virgin Islands, we don't have like Forever 21, Bath and Body Works. We don't have Home Goods and Target here in the US Virgin Islands. And so we went there and I shopped so much so that we had to mail boxes back home.
Wow. Yes. Awesome. I love it. I love it. Well, thanks for sharing that. All right. So before I let you go, do you want to tell the listeners about any offers where they can find you again so that they can reach out to you?
My challenge is called the Corporate Makeover Challenge, and it's a 5-day challenge where we take your offer, we make it over into an offer that attracts high-quality clients, high-end clients, as well as corporate clients. I will have some of the classes on the back end. So if you guys are interested in that, I'll leave a link for you guys to have access to that. And also you can book a complimentary strategy session with me. So I offer strategy sessions, and here's what they look like. On my calls, we get on the call, we look at your business, we see what your goals are, what you want to have happen in your business, what kind of clients you want to be attracting, and what's going on in your business currently. Then I figure out what's causing you to not be where you want to be. I give you a strategy, which is a framework that you can actually put into play whether or not we decide to work with each other. Remember, I told you in the beginning, if you're not a good fit for me, you at least walk away with a strategy, right? And so, but if you are, I ask you, do you need support, or do you think you would need support on this strategy? And then of course I'll make an offer. But if you're not a good fit, or if we just don't work together well, you still walk away with a strategy that you can use. And if you do, then you'll be a client of mine. That's how it works, right? And so those are complimentary calls. Of course, you'll have access to the link to that. You can book that call. Spaces are limited. I don't do a lot of those calls all the time, but if you are able to get a call, then go ahead and jump on that because they're very valuable.
Okay. Well, thank you so much, Gabrielle. We appreciate all of your insight, your transparency, and for you joining us today here on She Leads Podcast, Leadership Empowerment for Women of Color.
Thank you so much, Nicole, for inviting me. It's been awesome. This has actually been really fun. So thank you for having me.
You're welcome.
Thank you for tuning in to another episode of She Leads Podcast, Leadership Empowerment for Women of Color. Please be sure to go to our Facebook page at She Leads Podcast to like or follow us. Also, let us know if this episode inspired you by leaving a comment under the post for Season 6, Episode 17. Thanks. Until next time, be empowered and empower on.